It has been said that abs are made in the kitchen. Nowadays, they tend to say the more accurate statement that abs are revealed in the kitchen. But first, you have to have something to reveal. And in the case of our lower abs, there's a simple test that we can do to see how strong they are. All you have to do is lay on your back and bend your knees. Then raise your legs up into the air to create a 90-degree angle with your torso. This should give you a posterior pelvic tilt with your low back flat on the floor. Now keep your head back and fold your arms in front of you like a genie, with your elbows up in the air and away from your body. At this point, slowly lower your legs down toward the floor. This should take at least 10 seconds. Now in order to pass this test, your lower back must remain in contact with the floor the entire time. Once it loses contact, the test is over. Now don't feel too bad if you didn't get that far down before your low back lost contact with the floor. Especially for us guys over 50, we've had a lot of years working at a desk, and as we get older, we tend to be less active, all contributing to a weaker core. One of the most common side effects of a weak lower abdominal is low back pain. Of course, we can fix this because we can get fit and build muscle at any age. The first step in improving our lower abs is to stay away from doing the cool gym exercises like hanging leg raises or even knee raises. We'll get to them in a bit. It just isn't where you start. The reason for this is that our hip flexors are very strong muscles and can easily overpower our lower abdominals. If you've ever done leg raises and your back started to hurt, that is a sure sign you weren't using your abs, but your hip flexors. The first exercise I would suggest you start with is the dead bug. The most important thing to remember with this exercise is that once you're in a position to do the movement, you make sure you tilt your pelvis forward to engage your core, pressing your lower back to the floor. And once your back loses contact with the floor, that's failure and your last rep of the set. If you can do at least 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps at a slow, steady pace, then you're ready to move to a more advanced exercise. For the next exercise, I've chosen the reverse crunch, or as I've been hearing it called lately, the lying garhammer. The easiest way to do this is with your knees bent and your hands under your butt. As you advance, you'll straighten out your knees at the bottom and the top of the movement, and then finally remove your hands from under your butt and just lay them along your sides. Oftentimes, trainers will instruct their clients to put their hands under their butt to keep them from having back pain. As I mentioned earlier, this back pain is caused by having a weak lower abdominal and using your hip flexors to raise your legs. So when you put your hands under your butt, your pelvis automatically tilts, pressing your low back to the floor and engages your lower abs. And this is what you need to do to ensure you're engaging your lower abs once you've removed your hands. Always make sure that your low back is in contact with the floor while you do your repetitions. The nice thing about progressing this way is you really develop the habit of getting into a forward pelvic tilt as you do your lower ab exercises. Because as you move into more advanced exercises like knee and leg raises, you need to set up your lower abdominals the same way, except you no longer have a floor to push against to remind you. When you first start doing knee raises, and the same is true once you graduate to leg raises, you want to do them in a way that keeps your body stable, eliminating swinging. Not only does this swinging motion use momentum to move the legs, but it also makes it difficult to keep the tension on the lower abs. So at first, you're better off using dip bars like my Lieberts, a couple of chairs, or if you have access, a leg raise stand. So far we've been talking about strengthening our lower abs through motion, but this isn't the only job our abdominals perform. Its other job is to stabilize our body. We train this isometrically, with planks being on the beginner end of the spectrum and dragon flags being on the more advanced side. If you're following the progression I've outlined in this video and you want to add dragon flags into your program, then once you're at the stage that you can properly do hanging knee raises, this is a good time to add it in. I like to set up by lying on a bench with my hands holding the bench up by my head for support. At this point, I raise my legs and torso up so they're straight above me, with the weight of them being supported on my upper back. Then I start to lower them down, maintaining that forward, or in this case, upward, pelvic tilt. Once I've lowered them down as far as I can, then I hold for time. That way, we can keep working out while having fun. This is Lawrence from Fit and 50. We'll talk to you again in the next one.